everybody, my name is Nicola and I am simply a stitcher. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, it's lovely to have you, and if you're returning, thank you very much for coming back and spending some more time with me today. So today I'm going to do a stitch with me, and I am using again my Leonid Afremov piece, the supersized max colour version of Night Cafe. Singing Charlotte Yard again. Oh dear. I'm stitching this 2/110 stitch on 18 count fabric using my version of Needle Ninja's snake method. I'm currently 3.40% in on this piece, and that represents 33,650 stitches of 991,000 and change. So yeah, it's quite a big piece. Had a look on Stitchpal with this one yesterday, and it reckons finishing in 2037. So it will be coming up a little bit on this channel. So yeah, so we've got lovely summery sunny weather. Eldest daughter doesn't like it. It's brought out her hay fever. Middle daughter doesn't like it because she is not a sun worshipper. She's like me, fair skinned, and doesn't do well in the sun. Andy doesn't cope well in it, even though he's out in it all the time. I personally, I don't mind it. I just keep myself indoors where it's nice and cool, and venture out only if and when I need to. So yeah, how are you doing with the weather in your part of the world or the country? We were expecting some thunderstorms over the last day or two, but that's not happened either. So it's currently 7:30 in the morning here, and at the moment it's a 17 degrees Celsius, so starting to warm up a little bit. So really, I'm sorry, just getting the camera right, that's better. Starting to warm up a little bit. It'll probably be another warm day, but we'll see how it goes. Take advantage of the early morning. So what have I been up to since my last chatty? Not the weekend just gone, the one before. Andy and I went out with two of the girls, and we went filming in the Derbyshire Dales, filming for his channel. We went to the Eam Plague Village, the one place in the world actually that knew a heck of a lot about social distancing before it became a thing. And that was quite an interesting day. We had a lovely day there, and it was fascinating. I learned a few bits as well, always useful. And yeah, it was one of those days. We were in a beautiful place and with such a sad history. So we spent a few hours there and then came home. It was a lovely, again, it was a nice warm day, but not as hot as it's been in more recent days. It was comfortable enough to walk around and not be you know, at the point where you're sort of wilting under the heat kind of thing. This hoop keeps slipping. Let's just do that. That's it. So that was that. My needle's come unthreaded now. Oh. And then, I mean, obviously I was in work for the whole week. I've not had any time off. I just part this thread. There we go. Then I was saying a lot. What else did we do? Just the usual kind of week, really. Supermarket shop and all that jazz. Not really much going on. Andy went out filming on the Wednesday for the entire day, as is now his custom. And then at the weekend, we had his 2 children. And they came over and spent the weekend with us. One of them had a birthday a few days before she came. So, you know, of course, it doesn't matter whether or not you live in this house. If you turn up at this house and there's a birthday, you get a cake. So out came a birthday cake. And it was too warm over the weekend to cook a Sunday dinner. So we had what we call in this house a picky tea. Lots of sort of snacks and nibbles all put together to make a meal kind of thing, which was quite popular. What are you looking for?
Something.
No idea, not seen it. So that was quite nice, and it was refreshing. Lots of confetti in this bit, I'm afraid. I've had a few comments, which I'm going to go through. But in channel news, I did an unboxing of a Margaret Lee Chinese embroidery kit. If you've not seen that, do go and take a look at it. Although, as I said in my floss tube, I apologise for the video quality. I just, for some reason on that particular one, it just wasn't playing the game with the video for some reason. I don't know why. 1, 2, 3. Go. And I have another one to put out this week, where I have done an unboxing of a Gecko Rouge kit. Now I've got my gold membership, I'll probably be getting 1 or 2 more of those on the channel. Did also realise that I got my number of full coverage. Oh, that's come there now. On my floss tube, I got my number of work in progresses wrong. I've got 6 full coverages that are currently in my rotation, and I want to keep it at 6. So when I'm looking forwards into next year, I'm keeping it at 6, I think. So, yeah. I think as well, I didn't talk about this on my floss tube, but let me just count this one in. That's right. Yeah. I didn't mention this on my floss tube. I think my next full coverage start, I wasn't going to do so at first, but I think what I'm going to do, if it's like a big project, so you know, like 100,000 stitches or more, because I haven't decided what yet, unless it's already kitted up, i.e. like my Gecko Rouge one, I'm going to do it in tent stitch, 2/110, or 1/110 on 25. I haven't fully nailed it down yet. But I've got a couple of, you know, big projects on my list, and I don't really want to, it sounds awful, but I don't want to be spending 20 years stitching a piece because I'm insisting on putting full crosses in it. If I can do it in 10 stitch and do it in 10, great. Hold on, I've got nothing on the table at the minute that's going to take 20 years. So when the next sort of big project I think that I'm starting is the Lord of the Rings stained glass piece that I got from Etsy for my birthday. So I might try that 1/110 ton 25 or 28 count. Or I've still got some 20 count, which I can perhaps do it on 2/110. Because the 2/110 on 18 count, I'm happy enough with the coverage. And 2/110 on 20 is apparently quite good as well. But I still haven't firmed up really what I'm doing next year. All I know is that the aim of the game is to make progress, get some projects that, you know, have full coverage projects at varying stages of in the beginning, in the middle, and towards the finish. Why is that still poking through? That's better. And I think as well, what I've decided for the last 10 days of June, I don't know why I just did that. For the last 10 days of June, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring out Realm of Middle Earth and give that some extra time. Because I want to get it over that 30% mark. So 30 days have September, April, June and November. So 30 days in June. Oh, cracky. Oh, do you know, I'm going to leave that. I'm not having much luck with thread ends today because I'm not focusing enough. So for the last 10 days in June, instead of Maui Princess, when I've done my full coverage, I'm going to do some Realm of Middle Earth, because the last section before before I reach the end again, it's all block stitching in orange and yellow, and it's just a case of, you know, let's plough through and get those pages done, because then I can start back again on the left hand side. So I think that's my plan. So really, basically, I've got another week at Maui Princess to get as much in as possible. I'm kind of at the point with her. It's not that I've lost my mojo, but I don't want to lose my mojo, if that makes sense. It's very easy to do that much on a piece that you run out of steam. And and notwithstanding the fact that it is warm weather and I am tired, I've done some overtime at work, I don't want to lose my mojo, my stitching mojo, because otherwise, if that happens, all all of my stitching will go, which I definitely don't want, because, you know, as you guys know, I'm pretty obsessed, to say the least. I enjoy my stitching. Andy says he can't imagine seeing me without stitching in my hand. Even the girls, you know, are pretty this. Do you know, if I could speak today, it'd be marvellous, wouldn't it? Even the girls are sort of pretty used to seeing me with something creative in my hand. So I don't want to lose that steam, to lose that momentum. And I figure if I push myself too hard on Maui Princess, that's exactly what will happen. I've got some questions which I'm going to look through in a moment when I just get this thread. I've got some really good ones this week. And some lovely comments as well, which I'll share. Although not as many comments this week, so if you are listening to this and you do have a question, please do drop them in the comment section below. I am still moderating comments because of spammers, but unless you're a spammer, your comments will get posted, so don't worry about that. I think Hannah's talking to the cat upstairs, and she was the one who was, shall we say, a little bit windy on my ASMR cross stitch that I did last week. Naughty girl. I warned her today, don't be windy. Right, what's that colour? 976. How relaxing is cross stitch? Do you guys feel like me, and every time you're picking it up now you just have a good yawn? I do it all the time. It's terrible. I didn't sleep very well Sunday night into Monday this week, so I did look very tired on my floss tube. Over time, a weekend of sleeping downstairs because the children were here, and it all does kind of catch up with me on a Sunday. Having said that, last night, Sunday night, I said I did sleep, but I don't think I slept enough. We had a bit more drama here on Sunday, but not with the neighbour who had the car damaged. Last night I had quite a good night's sleep, and I think I've now caught up. I actually feel awake today. I didn't feel very awake yesterday. I felt a bit like I was on autopilot all day. So just before I get to my comments, so let's tell you a little bit about the drama. So the house over the road from us, it's not the guy with the car, it's about 4 doors up from him, and we could hear some shouting on Sunday night, and I was like, what's going on? So I had a look on my security camera, and there were 4 men and 2 women outside this house having a bit of a row, having a shout at each other, having an F and Jeff. It's about sort of 9 o'clock at night, just as I'm winding down, getting ready, to go to bed. And then all of a sudden it escalated. And the next thing you know, one of them's being chased down the street by 2 men, one of which has a hammer in his hand and the other of which has the golf club, which I am really quite angry and upset about, I think is the right kind of words to choose here. We live in when we moved onto this neighbourhood, it was a very peaceful neighbourhood, and I didn't expect it to be like, Beirut at the height of the Troubles kind of thing. And you certainly don't expect to see the people over the road wandering about with essentially what's an offensive weapon. Anything is a weapon, if you use it in that manner. So when it got to that violent stage, I said to Andy, phone 999. So he rang the police, and we're still waiting for him to turn up. It's 2 days later. We're still waiting for a call back because I have video footage that I'm quite happy to pass on to them. There's been nothing at all, and I have to say I'm quite disgusted, because if that person had been seriously injured, then it would have been a problem. Are you rushing for a bus, kidder?
Yeah.
Yeah, but have I parked that right? No. So. Now it's parked right. 1, 2. Oh, yeah. I have parked these threads wrong in the past, so I always double check now where I'm parking, because it's a bit of a pain in the neck when you get to a thread hole and there's a park thread in it and you're thinking, where's that from? What thread colour is that? What thread number is that? Where should it be? What have I done? And I've been fortunate, touch wood, I've not had to fudge on this piece because I've parked in the wrong place. Leave the door, Hannah, so the cat can't get through, okay? Keep some fresh air flowing. It's still early in the morning, I can keep fresh air flowing. I will.
That look alright?
Yeah, you look fab. Fashion advice. I'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye. Love you too. Right, let's have a look. Now we've got the house to ourselves. It's all in peace. Let's have a look at some comments. Okay, so let's start with comments from my last chatty. So Sharon left me a long comment that she managed to do some stitching with me. Looking forward to seeing some unboxing, hoping that daughter's elbow heals quickly. Oh yes, so is she. Oh, hi cat. So is she. She went back to fracture clinic and now has a delightful collar and cuff style sling, but it's a bit pointless because she's not wearing it very much. She's a bit naughty. She's got another appointment at fracture clinic and 4 weeks off work. So Joannes says, love stitching with me. Thank you, you're very welcome. I'll stitch with anybody, me. I'm not fussed. I've stitched on trains, I've stitched on planes, I've stitched on buses, I've stitched in cafes, I've stitched on beaches, I've stitched by a pool. I'll stitch anywhere and with anyone. I really don't mind because I get pleasure out of sharing this craft. You are welcome here anytime to watch any one of my Stitch With Me's. Yay for getting up that hill. Yeah, I was feeling that for a couple of days. But yeah, I did feel a sense of achievement. Thank you for that. Just for those of you that might not have seen or have missed, I pretty much climbed up a hill called Stanage Edge, which is on the Derbyshire Dales, and it's a stunning rocky outcrop at the top of a hill with magnificent views, and I tested myself in a lot of ways by actually climbing it, and I did quite well. I did okay. So it was a great day, and you know there are many more to come. I am off out with Andy this weekend as well, so Jane also says the same. Great for getting up the hill. Hoping that daughter's elbow gets better and my tonsils stop acting up. Well, they seem to have settled for now. I think I was starting to get a little bit run down, which is why, you know, they were just letting me know. I think they were probably just letting me know to slow down a little bit. But yeah, they do seem to have settled, and I'm no longer in the difficulty that I was. It's awful when you've got something like a dodgy set of tonsils, but the health profession don't want to kind of mess with them. I think it would benefit me greatly to have them taken out, but who am I to argue? I don't suffer enough, and you know, when I do start to suffer, I can generally resolve with over-the-counter stuff and seldom need a doctor. So okay, so Norma, sorry about what I'm dealing with the last month. Hope better days are in the future. Yes, me too. Things do seem to be improving, slowly. We just have to take it a day at a time, don't we? And just, as you say, hope for better times. We'll just keep plodding on. It's life. Not a lot we can do about it. I do love watching me stitch. I'm very fast. Can see being two-handed stitching is the key. Yeah, I've been two-handed stitching probably for the better part of sort of 15, 20 years now. So I'm very practiced. And I've I wouldn't say that I've sort of honed the skill, but I've just kind of, I find it easier to get into a rhythm once I start, and I think that's the key. Get yourself into a rhythm, a method you're working, work with a method that you're comfortable with, and you know your speed will come if you want it to be quick. But it is really about enjoying the journey, and I do enjoy the journey. It's just that I like to enjoy the journey quite fast. It's not that I'm competitive, because that's not the case at all. It's just that I like to see progress. I can remember way back when I started stitching again, seriously, because I've stitched since I was 14, but I did have a few years where I didn't stitch at all. And then when the children were born, that's when I sort of took it back up again. Um, I can remember thinking that 200 stitches in an evening was a massive achievement, um, which of course it is, because any progress is progress, you know, and you know you shouldn't think that just because it's 200 stitches, yes, but it's 200 stitches less on what's left to do. Um, but I can remember doing two full squares of black on Avarice one day. I've got a picture of it somewhere on Facebook, and doing two full squares of black in an evening and thinking, wow, I've done loads. But then looking at the whole project and thinking, how long is this going to take me? Well, the answer to that was 11 years, because it took me 11 years to complete Avarice start to finish, again with another break in stitching. Because when the children were young and my marriage broke down, I had to go out to work, and that left me little to no time for stitching. So she's also googled the Derbyshire Dales and beautiful countryside and area. Yes, it is, and shamefully for me, it's 45 minutes from my house, and I rarely go. And I really do need to put more effort in. There's a fly buzzing around, and going out with Andy and exploring this beautiful country in which we live in. I don't think we actually appreciate it. We don't appreciate what we have here in the UK, and we should. We should go out and visit it. What else we got? Amazing amount of stitches as always. Great to see progress and projects grow. Yeah, as I said, um, it's not that I'm a cat's fly catching. It's not that I'm a competitive stitcher, as it were. I do like to see progress, and it's been lovely over the last sort of few weeks that I've been able to see more progress on my full coverage, because I've not had the small project. But I'm not giving up on my plans to do those small projects, because you know me, once I've set myself to doing something, that's what I'm going to do. There's a fly buzzing around, and the cat can see it, and she's been trying to fly catch. It's quite funny. Get it, girl. So Clara, as usual, great progress on whips. It's nice to see my princess's eyes. Yeah. And from my last floss tube to this, the face was almost complete on my last floss tube, and on the new floss tube that I've just put out yesterday, or whenever it is, on a Tuesday, and I'm not sure when I'm putting this video out. I've fully completed her face, and it is beautiful. Even the girls are just loving watching it grow. So still got masses of hair to do though for her. You very much deserve spending money on yourself. Gecko Rouge kits are fun to buy and stitch. Yeah, well, it's a thing of mine, and I'm sure pretty much everybody out there certainly everybody who's a parent will know, when you're a parent, you spend all your money on your kids. And now the girls have come that little bit older, and I'm now spending a little bit more on me. Also because this channel is monetized, and through you guys going and watching that extra video, I've made enough from the channel to be able to fund this, so I can do it without it being a burden on the finances, even though yes, I've done overtime, and I can ring fence some of that money. The money that I get from the channel also, kind of goes into my pot, which is great. So when I say thank you all for watching, I truly, genuinely mean that, because it means that I can have those little extras. I can buy that gecko kit. I can join that club. I can have that pattern. I can, treat myself to, a new pair of scissors, or, a project bag, or whatever. So yeah, it's all really in part down to you guys. MVC, phenomenal amount of stitching. I do seem to repeat myself. I don't mind you repeat yourself. I'm not fussed. If you just put the same comment over and over again, I really don't mind. It's a comment, and it's lovely of you to take the time to do that. I know Andy on his videos has somebody that literally just comments thank you and contributes like $1 in the super thanks, and it, Andy sort of, got quite used to seeing just that single comment. It doesn't matter that you're saying the same thing. Your comments are always appreciated, no matter what the content. As long as you're not rude about me, I'm not bothered. I don't think anybody would be, though. Stitches are not like that. Lots of single stitches here. I'm doing lots of rethreading. Okay, so Sharon has a few questions for me in one comment, and she's taken a week to think them up. Much appreciated, Sharon. So let's have a look. Here's a few questions, stitchy and non-stitchy. What's the most I've ever paid for a kit? I think the most I've ever paid for a kit, or the highest value kit I've had, terrible English, so far, is my Gecko Rouge kit, the Black Cat and Butterflies. That was quite expensive. It was around £100. It was a Christmas gift from Andy to me, but yeah, it was obviously quite expensive. When I first kitted up Avarice, you know, 12 or so, 13 years ago, whenever it was that I started it. Avarice cost me quite a lot of money because I bought the thread and then I bought, they weren't skeins of thread, they were a company that no longer exists called Leisurecraft Tewkesbury, and the lady Ethne there, she kitted up Mirabilias, and at that time she was one of the only places in the UK that you could get DMC threads that were cut from the cone and wound onto bobbins. Still got some of these bobbins knocking about. Hold a second, because I am still using up the threads. Take it out of the placky bag, it'd do well, wouldn't it? So as you can see, it's quite large, and she would just wind the thread onto these large bobbins. Obviously put the DMC thread number. And I bought the fabric from Jane at So-and-so. So-and-so's no longer trading, hasn't been for quite a while. No, that's the wrong colour. And I think my piece of Lugana for it was about £12 or £14 or something back then. And then after I spoke to Ethne and I got the threads. And I overbought by quite a lot because I had no idea how much, how many stitches I'd get out of a skein. I'd not done enough research. And I am still using that bobbin that you've just seen was one of those that I bought with the Avarice bundle, if you like, and I'm now using it on the Realm of Middle Earth. So it's very easy to overbuy when you don't really know, you know, what you're talking about, essentially. So yeah, I did buy a lot of extra thread that really I didn't ought to have done, which I'm still using now. But going back to your question, Sharon, the threads and the fabric for Avarice were near on £100 or thereabouts, you know, a dozen or more years ago. So of course if I was doing it now it'd be a lot more. But I'm still using the thread. I still got plenty left over. So did I spend that much on Avarice? No, I just spent that much to kit it up and then, you know, repurposed, reusing the threads elsewhere. And of course now I just buy threads as and when I need. So what is the longest I've worked in a piece, excluding not lifting something for years? Again, it's still probably Avarice. She's my biggest full coverage project to date. Completed full coverage project to date, should I say? So yeah, that's probably the one that's been the longest. And I say it took me 11 years with a break. I reckon that it probably took me somewhere between 3 and 4 years in reality to complete her. And of course times have changed now and I'm looking to improve on that for upcoming projects. I put that thread in the wrong place. Oh, that one. And of course, as well, being a pattern keeper gal now, it makes a massive difference, because everybody's talked about how much of a game changer PK is, and it's a game changer in the respect that you can stitch so much faster, because you're not having to check, double and triple check, and you not have, you can just highlight each symbol individually, and it's not like on a paper pattern if you had two symbols that were very similar, close together. In pattern keeper, that now essentially becomes irrelevant, because you're just highlighting the correct symbol. Okay, if I could go and live anywhere in the UK where Andy does his filming, where would I choose and why? Well, the short answer to that is anywhere that's coastal. The other longer answer to that is, if I could afford it and I didn't have to work, me and Andy would have a camper van and go and live an off-grid nomadic lifestyle and just go and film like that. Just go and film the country. That's how we'd do it. Unfortunately, I can't do that. Work, home, responsibilities. I'm not in a position to be able to do that. But if I ever won the lottery, I would rent this house out, make sure the girls were set up, obviously, rent this house out, and then go off and live a nomadic lifestyle, because it's always been something that's appealed to me. I'm 3776, yeah. It's not that I'm uncomfortable living in a house. I like a house. I like the mod cons and all the rest of it. But, the freedom of the open road would definitely be something that spoke to me, for sure. And of course, if you had something like a camper van, you could park in a different place each night. And how appealing would that be? The only difficulty is finding somewhere to park, which can be a little bit harder, especially here in the UK. They're very strict about overnight parking in some places, and touristy areas, and particularly they don't like overnight campers and so on, which is a bit of a shame, but so anywhere that's sea, or even by a lake, fast flowing river, somewhere where I can hear the sound of water, because that's one of my loves. It's the sound of water. Me and Andy were in a village a few weeks ago now, and in fact, no, it weren't a few weeks ago. It was Hathersage, and we found a stream, and I was just stood on this little bridge over this stream that was sort of bubbling over the rocks and stuff, and making that beautiful water noise, and I could have stood there all day. And he's like, we need to move, and I'm like, yeah, no. Just leave me here, I'm quite happy. Just pass me some stitching, I'd be happy all day. So he had a bit of a chuckle at that and said, nah, come on, we've got to carry on. Bit of a shame, but it is what it is. But yeah, I would definitely be anywhere where there's water. It is my love, the sound of water. So thank you very much for those three, Sharon. Very lovely to answer. So next one, I've got Danielle. Lovely stitching, been with Gecko Gold Club a while. It's a lovely treat. I've definitely got a stash for life now. Yeah, I'm one of those stash for life kind of girls too, which is why I am trying to teach at least one of the girls to pick up the cross stitching bug. I was very proud the other day to see Lauren going off to school with a mini cross stitch kit in her pocket. Yeah, so in her breaks and stuff, she's taking time to practice, which is fab. It would be nice if the girls did, or at least one of them picked it up. Whether or not they'll be willing to stick to it, who knows? But I've always found it a relaxation, a comfort, that kind of thing. And it's now just a part of me. So there we go. I'm in a section of beiges, and all of a sudden a pink shows up. Sharon, another Sharon, great stitching as normal, well done. Of treating yourself, it's very easy to get into the habit of not when you have a family. Yeah, agree. It's very easy to fall into that habit that everybody else comes first, and I've lived that way for a lot of years. And Andy keeps saying, oh, you should treat yourself, you should treat yourself. It's not that easy, but I'm sure now that I've got the Gold Club membership, it will no longer be a problem. So yes, I will be looking forward and treating myself, even if it's only once a year. Which I'm pretty sure it won't be, but got to try and limit somewhere, right? So Norma again, so amazed at how much progress you make every week. My princess is oh so pretty. Oh yes, she certainly is. I never thought when I started stitching Maui Princess that I would ever stitch something like that, because it almost seemed like a cartoon character, which is just absolutely not me. And I ummed and ahed for a long time about Maui Princess. I'd seen the pattern. Shall I stitch it? Shall I not? Shall I stitch it? Shall I not? And then I decided that, yeah, do you know what? I am going to stitch it, because it's something different. It's something out of my usual stitchiness. And I have to say, I get a lot of enjoyment out of stitching her. A lot of enjoyment. And it's lovely seeing her appear under the needle. And if you've followed my floss tubes in more recent times, when I've put on like sort of 8-ish, 10% in the last sort of few weeks, cracking difference. Susan had a little giggle with my Envy ASMR, and presumably that's because of Hannah's floofy noises, as we call them politely in this house. She didn't giggle herself, Susan, when she saw my face. She kind of looked a bit sheepish. But, you know, to be fair, it's a normal, natural noise. It's just not, and I did say at the beginning of the video, you'll probably hear some natural noises. Just didn't quite expect it to be that. Joe Sorensen. So Joe thought it might have been Andy making the manly noise. No, he wasn't in. But Joe actually also brings up a very interesting question. And she's talking about, she says that on Envy, I stitch a lot horizontally. Do I think it changes the way the piece looks? Which is a really, really good question. Sometimes you can see the difference between stitching horizontally and stitching vertically, but you have to look really closely. And if I do stitch horizontally, I tend to stitch the whole band or the whole section horizontally, so that when I am being super critical and looking closely, I can't see the difference. There is a small part of Maui Princess where I've stitched part of the hair horizontally and part of it vertically in a small section. I can see it, but that's because I'm looking at it close up. If I was looking at it from a distance, I wouldn't be able to see. It's really sort of a matter of personal choice, but there's no rules to say that you can and can't, stitch in that way. And I just stitch on whichever way is easiest and the most effective at that point. So interesting question. So really, I suppose the answer is how critical are you going to be about your work? If you're going to be super critical, then stitch everything horizontally. If I'm not going to be super critical, then stitch in whatever way I want. Do I think it changes the look of my stitches? Slightly. There is a slight difference. But even if I looked at the section that I'm talking about on Maui Princess, I couldn't tell you which bits have been horizontally stitched and which bits have been vertically stitched. I've no idea, because it's been a while since I did them, and my memory's not that great. So there we go. Have I got any more? Oh, a couple of comments on my Frost Tube Extra with the Chinese silk embroidery. You'll love creating Margaret's design. She's very talented. Yes, agree. The design is beautiful, and I can't wait to get started. But it's a case of, oh crikey, it's a case of when am I going to fit it in, because I've got to teach myself really as well about the stitches and do a little bit more research before I plough into it. I don't just want to make it and it look rubbish. I want to make it and it look really, as Margaret intended, and do her work justice. So I actually bought some silk fabric so I can do some test stitchings and have a little sort of play, as it were, because I got some more silk thread as well. I don't think it's mulberry silk. It wasn't that expensive, but it's in the same realm. It's the same feel, the same sort of colour palette kind of thing. But yeah, I want to make sure I do it justice when I do it. And Sharon can't wait to see how it goes either. No, me neither. And then Norma, my last comment, which is good because we're at an hour. Norma says, Nikki says, where's I'm parking this thread? There. Really looking forward to seeing you work on Margaret Lee design. It'll certainly be different than the usual cross stitching, but she loves the effect. Yeah, that's what drew me to it when I was looking on YouTube and I saw these beautiful pieces of it. And there's another sort of version called Vietnamese embroidery, but it's not quite as delicate, I think is the word, as the Chinese and Japanese styles. And it kind of drew me in, and I found them just mesmerising, absolutely mesmerising. So yeah, definitely I'm looking forward to doing that. So I am almost finished with the stitch with me. As I said, because we're now at the hour, I have done just 140 stitches, but as you've seen, there's been a lot of threading and unthreading and rethreading. So it's been a little bit, not disjointed, that's the wrong word, but it slows me down a little touch when I have to do all of this unthreading and rethreading. So I'm going to leave it there. So my usual kind of reminders: if you've not subscribed, please do consider doing so before you leave. Give the video a like, it will help with the algorithm. If you've got time, go and watch another video, and all that good stuff. So thanks for watching, take care, happy stitching, and I will see you on the next one. Bye bye for now, everybody.